Struggling with constipation, bloating, or that heavy backed up feeling, this was me every single morning for years until I figured out how to reset my digestion naturally without using meds or powders. I'm about to walk you through 7 simple steps that help me eliminate regularly, feel lighter, and wake up with a flat stomach again. Let's break it down. So every day I used to start my days off with cold water, and immediately I would feel bloated and backed up and like my energy was drained, okay? I would already have this heavy feeling in my stomach, and this really confused me because it's water. Isn't water healthy? Isn't it supposed to, help flush out and, help me eliminate? But it wasn't until I learned that cold water actually slows down your digestion. You see, your body has to warm this cold water up to your body's internal temperature, which is about 97 to 98 degrees. So that takes a lot of digestive energy to heat up before it even hydrates your cells. So this was step 1 that I took to start eliminating properly and getting rid of the chronic bloating, was I swapped the cold water out for warm or hot water, okay? Your body doesn't have to use any digestive energy to heat this body up, okay? It's pure hydration, and this warm water is very powerful, okay? It starts to help, it assists your body in breaking down that undigested waste in our body, okay, and getting things broken down and eliminated, okay, because this is why we experience this heavy, backed up, bloating, and constipation feeling, is because we have undigested waste sitting in our colon that isn't letting foods eliminate properly, okay, it's backing our foods up. Okay, so this is clogging our system up. So that hot water can come in and start to break down some of that undigested waste. And then what I did after the hot water was I followed that with juicy, water-rich, hydrating foods. Foods that are water-rich have a way stronger impact on your colon than just isolated water itself, okay? So we want to be getting in those hydrating, juicy foods first thing in the morning to help break down that gunk again and get things broken down, lubricated, and eliminated, okay? So think melons and, berries and grapes, okay? Fresh, juicy fruit. And if your body doesn't respond well to sweet fruits right now, just eat non-sweet fruits like cucumber slices, bell pepper slices, celery sticks, and leafy greens and lettuce, okay? So this is going to provide your body with that structured water in these, high water-rich foods, okay? Now, another thing these water-rich foods have in them are living digestive enzymes, okay? Now, what these enzymes do is they partner with your stomach acid to help break down your food efficiently so that none of it turns into undigested waste, okay? Now, if you're out here in the Western world, most of our diet is cooked, okay? And cooked food has no living enzymes in it, okay? The only foods that contain digestive enzymes in them are fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, and fresh leafy greens, okay? These enzymes are super important in breaking down waste and undigested waste and strengthening our stomach acid so that our stomach acid can break down our food effectively. And if you want more guidance on rebuilding and rebalancing your stomach acid to break down your food effectively so that you don't deal with any of this undigested waste in the first place, you can check out my free gut healing solution book using the link in the description. So that was the first step I did to eliminate my chronic bloating and backed up feeling, was I swapped out cold water for warm or hot water, and then I followed that with juicy, hydrating, water-rich, enzyme-rich foods in the morning. Now this piggybacks onto the next step that I took. So I was always drinking water during the day, after my meals, even with my meals, and I thought this was healthy. I thought that I was hydrating myself properly. But it turns out drinking with or right after your meals is actually diluting your stomach acid, okay? And we need that strong stomach acid to be able to break down our food effectively so that none of it turns into undigested waste. So instead of drinking with or right after your meals, you want to instead prioritize hydrating at least 30 minutes before you're about to have a cooked food meal. and wait at least an hour and a half to 2 hours to drink anything after consuming solids, okay? And instead of drinking with or right after your meals, you want to pair these non-sweet fruits with your cooked food meals, okay? So again, the cucumber slices, the celery sticks, bell pepper slices, and green leafy lettuce, okay? So this doesn't dilute your stomach acid, but it provides it with that hydration that the cooked food doesn't have, and it provides your stomach acid and digestion with those living digestive enzymes that the cooked food doesn't have. Okay, so now this cooked food can be broken down way more efficiently, and it's helping your stomach acid to break down everything so that none of it turns into undigested waste. So this was the second step that I took to eliminate my chronic bloating and constipation, was instead of drinking water with my meals and right after my meals throughout the day, I would pair my cooked food meals with hydrating non-sweet fruits. And the reason I say non-sweet fruits is because you don't want to pair sweet fruits with anything, okay? Sweet fruits are best digested on an empty stomach by themselves. You don't want to be mixing them with nuts or nut butter or granola or anything, okay? Sweet fruits are designed to be digested by themselves on an empty stomach. You don't even want to be adding them to your diet after you've eaten cooked food even 2 or 3 hours ago, because this fruit is going to mix in with that and start fermenting. Okay, it's going to cause fermentation in your gut, and this causes more of that bloating and indigestion feeling. So instead of drinking water throughout the day and with your cooked food meals, start eating your hydration. Okay, these water-rich foods have a way greater impact on, breaking down the stuff in your colon versus just isolated water. Now, my diet consisted of a lot of, toast, a lot of bread, okay, and pasta, these flour-based meals, and dairy, and, protein bars, protein powders, things like this. Foods that I thought were, actually healthy for me. But it turns out these foods were actually dehydrating me. They were pulling the hydration out of my body, and we're water-based beings, okay? We're 60 to 70% water. So our food, our diet should be a reflection of who we are, okay? We shouldn't be eating as much of these dense, dry, dehydrating foods as we are, okay? Our primary diet should be mostly water-rich foods, okay? And this is the reason that you feel the need to drink water with or right after your meals, is because cooked food has no water content in it, and it's actually dehydrating you. So this was the third step that I took, was I started replacing these dried snacks and the toast and the floury-based meals and the dairy and even the animal products, these foods that have no water content in them, with more fresh, water-rich, and if they're water-rich, they're enzyme-rich foods, okay? So I was providing my body with more enzymes and more water in my food, and this was strengthening my digestion, strengthening my stomach acid, and hydrating me at a way higher level than just drinking water on top of all of these foods. You want to start looking at your food as how hydrating is this food, okay? Because the more hydrated you are, the more lubricated your insides are, the more lubricated your bowels are, and the easier you can just eliminate these foods, okay, and not have this stuck waste in your colon, stuck in your colon. And to start experimenting with more of these hydrating, water-rich, and enzyme-rich foods as meals as a part of your regular diet, I have some food swaps and some easy recipes in that free gut healing solution book linked down in the description, and as well as just Googling raw vegan recipes, raw vegan dips, raw vegan sauces, okay, raw vegan dressings. These are going to give you recipes that are fresh, water-rich, and enzyme-rich, that all strengthen your digestion and hydrate you at a cellular level, and begin to help remove all of this undigested waste out of your body as you're eating it. So this food is actually your medicine. And that's how our food should be, okay? Our food should be healing us, giving us energy, giving us hydration, okay? We shouldn't be feeling slumped and, not even wanting to walk after and just bloated, okay? We gotta eat our hydration, okay? The reason we're feeling very bloated and backed up is because we're eating these very dense, dehydrating processed foods with oils and additives and fillers and preservatives that your body just wasn't designed to recognize, let alone digest, okay? All these fillers and these oils, they require an excess, unnatural amount of stomach acid to break them down effectively, and this weakens our digestion and causes more of that undigested waste. Now, another thing I used to do was I would always eat in chaotic environments, on work breaks and just around people that I couldn't fully relax around. Maybe they were talking about drama or whatever. And even things like scrolling on my phone and watching TV, these were all signaling to my nervous system that I'm not in a state to rest and digest, okay? So our nervous system and our digestion have a direct correlation with each other. So if we're not in a rest and digest state, our digestion essentially gets put on pause, okay? And our blood from our digestion rushes to our limbs, our arms, and our legs so that we can run, okay? Because our nervous system is very ancient and it doesn't know the difference between our stress situations, okay? It doesn't know the difference between us 5,000 years ago getting chased by a lion out of the bushes, and now being stressed from work and relationships and deadlines and things like this, okay? It just knows stress is one thing, it's just stress, and we gotta go, okay? So a lot of us are in this fight or flight mode. We're not in a rest and digest state in general and while we're about to eat. So we want to signal to our nervous system that we are in a rest and digest state, and so our digestion can turn on and be activated, as well as our digestive organs. And the most simplest way to do this and the fastest way to do this is communicating through our breath, okay? So a lot of us are breathing through our mouths, okay? And we're breathing very shallow and small, and we're breathing up here in our chest, okay? And if you think about it, this is what we do when we're crying or panicking, okay? Okay, like this is what we're doing on a slower level, okay? On a more unconscious level throughout the day. We're just breathing up here through our chest and tightening up all of these neck and accessory muscles and breathing very shallow, okay? So to begin to communicate to our system that we're in a rest and digest state, we want to come into the present moment, get rid of the distractions, get into a quiet, peaceful state, and we want to prioritize breathing through our nose instead of our mouths. And we want to prioritize, instead of breathing through our chest up here, we want to breathe through our belly, okay? And our belly has a muscle called our diaphragm, okay? This is our primary respiratory muscle. And by engaging with this muscle, we're strengthening this muscle, and in turn, we're strengthening our digestion because it sits right above our colon. So to test this, we can put a hand on our chest and a hand on our belly, and when we breathe in through our nose, instead of our hand going up on our chest, we want that hand to expand on our belly. So when we're taking that nasal inhale in, we want to expand our belly out, okay? And we want to breathe in more deeper and more slower, okay? And really feel into it. And then on that exhale, you want to bring the belly back in, okay? And contract it. And just do this for 1 to 2 minutes before you eat, and come back to your 5 senses. What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you see? Okay, just bring yourself back into the present moment and out of the thoughts and out of the worries, okay? Because this is all just pausing our digestion essentially. So that was the fourth thing that I did, was I started regulating my nervous system and signaling to it that, hey, I'm in a rest and digest state before I'm about to eat. So for basically all of my life, I would end my days with my biggest meal. Okay, so dinner was at the end of the day. Dinner was always my biggest meal. And I thought this was normal, but this was actually causing my digestion so much stress, okay? So our bodies essentially force us to sleep every single night so that it can do deep internal cleansing and cellular repair and breaking down undigested waste while we're asleep. But when we eat our biggest meal at the end of the day, and especially right before we go to bed within an hour or two, and I thought this was normal, but this was actually causing my digestion so much stress. So when we eat our biggest meal late at night, close to our bedtime, Our body can't do this internal cleansing and cellular repair and breaking down yesterday's or last week's undigested waste in our colon. And it instead has to focus on breaking down this big overload of food all night, okay? And this is not what your body wants to do. Your digestion was not meant to be breaking down these big overloads of food late at night, okay? Your digestion is strongest middle of the day, okay? When the sun is at its highest, okay? The sun is aligned with our bodies, okay? We have a circadian rhythm. So we have to follow this. So the fifth step that I took was I started eating my biggest meal in the middle of the day, okay? Instead of late at night or even just a couple hours before bed. So this was the fifth step that I took to eliminate my bloating and constipation. Was I had my biggest meal in the middle of the day when the sun is at its highest, okay? This is when my digestion is at its peak, it's at its strongest. And this provided my body with so much more room and so much more space and so much more time to break down that food, okay? So my food was fully broken down before I went to bed. And when I did have dinner, I would just have a light meal, okay? Really light salad or just some non-sweet fruits, cucumbers, celery, maybe a little raw vegan dip or dressing or sauce. Something really light, and I made sure to finish eating that at least 2.5 to 3 hours before I went to sleep. Now, going back to our morning. So I never had a morning routine that triggered elimination in my body besides, the food that I was eating. So we can help our body and assist our body in eliminating by movement. This is essential for assisting your body in eliminating in the mornings. So this one was a game changer for me. So step 6 I took was I created a stretch routine in the mornings, okay? And this was causing me to, burp out and fart and just poop like right away before I even had the warm water or the juicy fruit. So I advise you to just create a stretch routine or look up a full body stretch routine. Take 15 to 30 minutes every morning and just hop around and stretch and get things loosened up, okay? And the more you're moving your bodies in these different positions, your stomach is involved in all of it. So you're assisting your bowels in, some movement and moving that lymph around to assist your body in eliminating. And even just going for a light 30-minute walk every morning is going to do wonders for your digestion. And again, moving that lymph and getting that stagnancy out of your bowels and your digestion. And the last thing that I didn't think to do for a while, but when I did do it, it changed everything for me. This was the most important factor of helping me eliminate properly and get rid of this constipation for good. I went 3 to 4 days without eating any cooked food at all. And I did this because I was seeing so much relief and so much improvement in my digestion from eating these hydrating, water-rich foods. Okay, so I said, why don't I just take out all the cooked food, all the food that is dry and dehydrating and very dense, and just eat all water-rich foods for 3 to 4 days. And even the second day I did this, I was just pooping so much. I felt so much lighter. I had so much more energy, okay? I didn't feel so heavy and backed up. So I took out all the oils, all flour, all dry seasonings, okay? Especially them oils too, because even the healthy oils, the olive oils, the coconut oil, these are super concentrated amounts of fats, okay? And your digestion was never designed to take on this super concentrated overload of fat, okay? Coconut, eating the coconut meat, that's fine, okay? But the super concentrated coconut oil and eating olives is super fine, okay? But this super concentrated olive oil is just, your digestion was not designed for that. It's very processed and it's just too fatty for your digestion to be able to break down, okay? It's the complete opposite of who we are. We're water-based beings, and me and you both know that oil and water does not combine properly. And same with these flour-based meals, the bread, the pasta, okay, and these protein bars and these protein powders, okay, lots of gums and fillers in them. I took out all of these dry, dehydrating, dense foods out for a couple of days and just ate these raw vegan meals, cucumber noodles with pesto sauce. Pesto sauce, I made it out of avocado and basil and stuff like this. There's so many alternatives of your favorite foods that are living and water rich that you can just look up, or again, you can check out the recipes I have in my free book linked in the description, and you'd be surprised. Like, I still eat this way to this day because I feel the most energized and light and hydrated. I've been eating this way for the past 5 years, but I'm eating things like raw walnut tacos, cucumber Alfredo pasta, zucchini Alfredo pasta, getting a spiralizer and making cucumber noodles, zucchini noodles, carrot noodles. Okay, eating lots of fruit and big banana smoothies with blueberries. So just having fun with this, and I went on a whole water-rich adventure for 3 to 4 days, and this completely eliminated my 11 years of constipation in just a couple of weeks of eating like this. And when you do start to eat like this, you feel the difference when you go back to these, dry, dehydrating, cooked, boxed, and packaged frozen meals and microwavable meals and just these non-water content foods in general. You feel the difference immediately in your digestion, in your energy levels, in your brain fog, and in your mental clarity, okay? Those hydrating, water-rich foods, everything is just up here. And then when you begin to add those dry, cooked foods in there, you feel that difference immediately. And so that's why I've been eating this way for 5 years now. 5 years ago, I healed my bloating and my constipation because I fell in love with eating this way. It's not just I have to eat this way to, not have constipation. I still enjoy my cooked food meals every now and then. I have bread every now and then, and I don't get constipated anymore, but I do feel the slow digestion and the symptoms from that. But like I said, this just makes me feel the most clarity, the most energetic, and the most optimal foods for my digestion. So quick recap, the first step that I took to eliminate my chronic bloating and constipation was I swapped out cold water in the mornings for warm water, followed by juicy, enzyme-rich fruits. The second step I took was I cut out drinking with or right after my meals, and instead I prioritized hydrating 30 minutes to an hour before my meals and waited at least an hour and a half to 2 hours to drink anything after I had solids. And instead of drinking with or right after those meals, I would eat non-sweet, hydrating, water-rich fruits like cucumber slices, celery, bell pepper slices, and leafy greens and lettuce. These don't dilute your stomach acid like drinking water does, and it provides your body with the hydration and the digestive enzymes that the cooked food doesn't have to assist your body in breaking them down fully. And the third step I took was replacing these dried snacks and foods like bread and pasta and protein bars and protein powders with more of these hydrating non-sweet fruits and sweet fruits and just these raw vegan meals that are more hydrating and enzyme rich. The fourth step I took was prioritizing my peace, okay, before and while I'm eating, okay, regulating my nervous system, communicating to my nervous system that I'm in a place to rest and digest and that I'm not in a fight or flight mode by using my breath, signaling to my nervous system with my breath, engaging with my diaphragm, strengthening this diaphragm muscle in my belly. The fifth step I took was instead of eating my biggest meal at the end of the day, I ate my biggest meal at the middle of the day when the sun is at its highest and my digestion is at its peak strongest. Number 6 is I created a stretching routine in the morning to move my lymph and assist my body in eliminating and just going on light walks when I wake up. And the 7th thing that I did that changed everything was I went 3 to 4 days just eating water-rich foods, water-rich and enzyme-rich foods. If your food is water-rich, then it's enzyme-rich, okay? Cucumbers, berries, melons, banana smoothies, celery, okay? These water-rich foods all have enzymes that strengthen your digestion and help your body in breaking down undigested waste. I hope this video provided you with massive value. You can email me at practitionerkey@gmail.com if you have any questions. I will make a video answering it, and I will see you guys in the next one. My name is Practitioner Key. Happy healing, family. Cheers.